After the pandemic impacted 2020, Marvel's 2021 is slowly but surely back on track, with a wide variety of excellent comics. All in all, it's a good time to be a Marvel fan, and I'm listing out my favorite picks for those looking to dive in. It's an interesting year for Marvel, 3 years after the launch of the Fresh Start era, as some of the line's biggest titles, Black Panther, Immortal Hulk, Venom, wind down throughout the year. Even with that turnover, Fresh Start is heartily sustained through the Krakoa era of X-Men, an exciting new Marvel space age, and a healthy variety of quality throughout the broader universe. Honestly, even some of the big-time runs I'm least enthused by, you have Jason Aaron's Avengers going through a Heroes Reborn event right now, and Nick Spencer's Amazing Spider-Man as well. They are remarkably consistent events, and offer plenty of intriguing moments. It's a truly good time to be a fan of Marvel Comics. Today I'll review my picks for the best Marvel Comics of 2021, updated throughout the year to reflect new books I'm excited about. Check them out here and let me know anything good I should be reading in the comments as well. Hey everybody, I'm Dave Busing, founder and editor-in-chief of comicbookherald.com. You are listening to the best Marvel Comics of 2021 so far. You can find the complete list linked in the show notes over on comicbookherald.com. I recommend you do so, and then you can check out links to all of the books within that list in my full write-up as well. If you like the Comic Book Herald YouTube channel, please consider liking, subscribing, sharing, and commenting here. All of that helps me out a great deal. You can find full comic book reading orders, including a full Marvel reading order on comicbookherald.com with links in the show notes. Spoilers for some discussed comics may follow, although this will be a very, very spoiler-light type of analysis as I try to talk about what is going on in these comics at a high level to encourage you to check them out and check out the best of Marvel in 2021. Number 1 on the list, Way of X. Creators Cy Spurrier, Bob Quinn, Javier Tartaglia, and Clayton Cowles. Relevant issues for the year are going to be Way of X number 1 to number 9. Only the first 2 issues have come out at the time of this recording. Despite the fact that Nightcrawler is my favorite X-Men character, and if I dig deep, possibly my second favorite hero after Spider-Man, I've never loved a series with Kurt as much as the lead. That changed instantly with the launch of Way of X, the 2021 addition to the X-Men's Reign of X, a book looking at the spiritual and cultural focus of mutant kind in the Krakoa era of X-Men, with Kurt, of course, as the religious heart. Cy Spurrier is a masterful creator, as proven across works like X-Men Legacy, aka the best Marvel Legion comics, Six Gun Gorilla, and Hellblazer Marks of Woe, among many others. Paired here with Bob Quinn and team, there's a much-needed creative infusion of skepticism and doubt to all things mutant in a post-House of X and Powers of 10 landscape. Highly recommended work. Number 2, combo product, Sword and Guardians of the Galaxy, both written by Al Ewing. You have creators Valerio Schiti, Marty Gracia, Ariana Maher on the relevant issues of Sword number 2 to number 12, and on Guardians you have Juan Cabal, Federico Blee, Corey Pettit on issues 10 to 16 in annual, and then continuing on to Guardians of the Galaxy 17 through 21. Al Ewing's been good and properly cosmic for a long time, as evidenced by such contemporary must-reads as Ultimates and honestly a good chunk of Immortal Hulk. Giving him the reins to Marvel's cosmic landscape, which has been oddly unfocused despite the cosmic focus of events like Empire and King in Black over the past couple years, it's a big win and has enormous potential for fans of Marvel heroes across the galaxy. Between the excellence of Sword, part of the X-Men's Reign of X, and the increasing complexity and diverse shifts of Guardians of the Galaxy, Ewing's Marvel Space Age is shaping up to potentially compete with the incredible days of Annihilation-era mid-2000s Marvel Cosmic. We're not there yet, don't you worry. We're not at Annihilation territory yet, but could it get there? It's got that potential. Number 3 on the list, Hellions. Creators Zeb Wells, Steven Segovia, Carmen Carnero, Ariana Maher. Relevant issues in 2021 are Hellions number 8 to number 18. And as I talked about just last week, describing the Hellfire Gala on Casual Krakoas, Hellions is so good. Such a stunning blend of heart and humor that we don't even talk anymore about how weird it is that a contender for Best X book stars Mr. Sinister, okay, Psylocke, yeah, Havoc, John Greycrow, Wildchild, Empath, and Nanny and Orphan Maker? What? In so many ways, it's the promise the Krakoa era fulfilled, where any mutant can be a star and totally revamped concepts can absolutely thrive. Honestly, the only thing that hurts Hellions at this point is the launch of books like Sword and Way of X that are inherently more integrated into the big picture of what matters in X-Men comics right now. But in many ways, that's also freeing, allowing Hellions to just be the laugh-out-loud Suicide Squad reimagining we didn't know we needed. Number 4 on the list, Daredevil. Creators, Chip Zdarsky, Marco Cicchetto, Marcio Minez, Clayton Cowles, among others. Relevant issues include Daredevil number 26 to number 37 in a run written by Zdarsky that started with the 2018 Marvel Fresh Start era. The final Daredevil issue of 2020, Daredevil number 25, ended on a major turn for the excellent Chip Zdarsky and Marco Cicchetto run, one which offers the potential for him to move his run further out of the shadow of the all the great Daredevil runs that preceded his. If you don't know what that turn is, somehow still skip ahead, right? Get to reading Daredevil and skip ahead to the next pick, okay? So, chance to skip ahead. Starting with King in Black tie-ins, the 2021 version of Daredevil follows Elektra Nachos as the Daredevil of Hell's Kitchen while Matt Murdock fights for survival in prison. And as so often happens when a known Marvel player takes on a legacy mantle, here's looking at you, Bucky, Sam, Flash, Carol, and Shuri. It makes for some really, really great comics. Number 5 on the list, Black Cat. Creators, Jed MacKay, C.F. Villa, Brian Reber, Farron Delgado. Relevant issues this year, Black Cat number 2 to number 7, an annual number 1 in the Infinite Destinies crossover, and then back to Black Cat number 8 to number 13. I've probably told this story before, but I'll never forget Yokiro Cebulski holding up a copy of J. Scott Campbell's Cheesecake pinup cover of Black Cat number 1 at C2E2, excitedly asking, "Who likes Black Cat?" and the mixture of confused, muted clapping that followed. It's not like Felicia Hardy isn't a popular, enduring supporting player in the Spider-Man universe, but if there was a market for a genuinely great Black Cat ongoing, surely that would have presented itself before 2019? Yet Jed MacKay and Travel Foreman turned the story of Black Cat into one of Marvel's best series, and MacKay impressively continues the feat in 2021, forced to relaunch Black Cat with a new number 1 as part of the King in Black event, and sticking the landing time and time again. A huge part of the hook of this comic is that MacKay and company have turned Felicia's story into a heist across every corner of the Marvel Universe, deliberately bouncing from reference point to reference point in a way that is seriously entertaining for longtime Marvel fans. Plus, I've never truly been more entertained by Felicia and her posse, one of the most entertaining crews in Marvel Comics of the past few years. Black Cat is shockingly and surprisingly and delightfully recommended. Number 6 on the list, Immortal Hulk. Creators, Al Ewing, Joe Bennett, Roy Jose, Chris O'Halloran, and Corey Pettit. The relevant issues this year are going to be number 42 to the series conclusion in Immortal Hulk, number 50, as yet to be announced. There's really no right time for Immortal Hulk to end, as Al Ewing, Joe Bennett, and team have crafted a take on Hulk so instantly iconic, I can't fathom any readers who won't feel a tremendous absence following the run's conclusion with 2021's Immortal Hulk number 50. Nonetheless, Ewing and co. have certainly earned the right to give their saga the rarest of rewards in comics, a proper ending on their own terms. Immortal Hulk will go down as a constant presence on Best of Marvel Comics lists in years to come, and with the exception of Greg Pak's long run starting with Planet Hulk, it's honestly hard to even consider other contenders for Marvel's best Hulk work. No, I didn't forget about Peter David's very long and frequently very interesting work. I don't want to see Immortal Hulk go. I just don't want to see it end. But you know what? Sometimes the green door beckons. Number 7, X-Men. Creators, Jonathan Hickman, Mahmoud Asrar, Sonny Gao, Clayton Cowles, among others. Relevant issues this year are only going to be number 17 to number 21, and then Hickman is off the X-Men series before heading to 2021's Inferno event. Ranking X-Men in 2021 is a little tricky because the Jonathan Hickman written run on the title ends during the Summer Hellfire Gala with issue 21, before Jerry Duggan and Pepe Larraz take over with a relaunched X-Men number 1 for the remainder of the year. As it stands, the Hickman run on X-Men ends on a powerfully strong note through issues number 18 to the conclusion, as Hickman returns to plot threads seeded early in his run, right? Issue number 5's Children of the Vault return in X-Men 18 and 19, and issue number 6, Story of Mystique, Destiny, and Nimrod returns in X-Men number 20. For my money, the run ends in precisely the way House of X and Powers of 10 promised, with huge payoffs on seeds, mysteries, and ideas that make this era of X-Men so exciting. Number 8, Eternals. Creators, Kieran Gillen, Esad Ribic, Matt Wilson, Clayton Cowles. We're going to have relevant issues number 1 to an anticipated, at a minimum, number 6. We'll see if the series will continue. Beyond that, I'm unclear at this point in time. I used to make jokes that Jack Kirby's Eternals were primarily good for helping readers get some rest on those sleepless nights, and, well, I still will from time to time, but 2021 is certainly the most invested I've ever been in the Eternals. A lot of that has to do with the impending introduction to the MCU, with much of my enthusiasm also boosted by Gillen and Ribic's ongoing Eternals. Eternals is Kieran Gillen's return to the Marvel Universe after 4 years away, and it's a brilliant fit with the very open yet very vast mythology of Eternals as his playground. Combine that sprawling mythology with Esad Ribic, who has one of the superhero comics' highest batting averages across runs on Thor: God of Thunder and 2015 Secret Wars, and Eternals fits right into the exciting creator-driven world building of the likes of X-Men and Hulk franchises. I hope the series will continue for a good long while. Number 9 on the list, Captain America. Creators Ta-Nehisi Coates, Leonard Kirk, Matt Milla, Joe Sabino, and others. Relevant issues, Captain America number 27 to the Coates written series conclusion in Captain America number 30. 2021 has been a year of critics and fans finally coming to terms with the weight and approach of Ta-Nehisi Coates' Marvel Comics, both as Black Panther ended with his second set of 25 issues, a series that belongs on this list, but for the fact that only 2 issues actually came out this year, and as Coates' Captain America cemented more of its fascinating focus and purpose. That Captain America is a political work should not come as a surprise to anyone who has been reading comics since, checks notes, World War II, but Coates' late 2020 and 2021 issues of Cap are particularly incisive of this American cultural moment. I've said as much before, but Marvel fans are going to look back at the 5 years of Coates as a major force in the Marvel Universe and lament that this work wasn't more fervently appreciated in its time. Number 10, New Mutants. Creators, Vita Ayala, Rod Reis, Travis Lanham. Relevant issues, number 15 to number 20. In a new creative era with Vita Ayala and Rod Reis taking over after the Ed Brisson written run kicked off the Dawn of X. The X-Office's New Mutants went from the weakest, most rudderless book in the line to one of the best, and all it took was the creative overhaul, adding writer Ayala and Rice. That infusion and a newfound much-needed focus on the youth of Krakoa turned New Mutants into a must-read from jump. It was really quite impressive. I am consistently impressed how much story Ayala and Reis pack into each issue, frequently balancing no fewer than 3 distinct plot threads per issue, yet somehow giving each equal weight and attention. Whether it's the mysterious, nefarious presence of the Shadow King, the growing concerns of Gabby aka Scout, or the old guard New Mutants, Karma, Danny Moonstar, Rain Sinclair, and Magic, training young mutants, this title is an absolute highlight of the Reign of X. Speaking of highlights, 11, X Factor. Creators, Leah Williams, David Baldion, Israel Silva, and Joe Caramagna. Relevant issues are going to be X Factor number 6 to X Factor number 10, the much-lamented series conclusion during the Hellfire Gala. You know, for its first half, X Factor felt like a delightful hangout comic, giving fans a unique opportunity to spend time with the diverse and predominantly queer gang of mutants investigating and confirming mutant deaths for Krakoan resurrections. As the series progressed into 2021, though, the creative unit brought storylines spanning the Mojoverse and the Morrigan full circle into a frankly astonishing gambit of bringing everything together. I did not expect these stories to coalesce in the way that they have. Leah Williams is my favorite of the new wave of X-Men writers, and combined with the visuals of Ballion and Silva, some of the best panel layout explorations in Marvel, X-Factor has been a consistent delight. That Marvel is ending the series with its 10th issue, despite satisfactory sales, huge fandom, and literally the best queer representation in anything from the publisher, is frankly just confusing. I don't quite get it, despite the fact that Williams is going on to write The Trial of Magneto. Number 12, SpiderMan, Spider Shadow. Creators, Chip Zdarsky, Pascal Ferry, Matt Hollingsworth, and Phil Noto. The relevant issues, it's a 5-issue miniseries. Gonna have Spider Shadow number 1 to number 5. Chip Zdarsky is no stranger to putting Peter Parker through hell, as evidenced by the precursor limited series Spider-Man Life Story. Itself a variation on What If Life Story played with the idea of Peter Parker actually aging through the decades, instead of operating on Marvel time, and the effect that a life like that would have on a character. Spider Shadow is back to Spidey stories grounded in the sliding timeline, set specifically after Peter Parker famously obtained the black symbiote costume in Secret Wars number 8. Honestly, the series' primary question, what if Peter never got rid of the symbiote, isn't really that interesting. We've seen Peter wrestle with that decision across a wide variety of story, from the original to animated series to feature films to the Ultimate Universe comics. What elevates Spider Shadow is how fully Zdarsky and Ferry lean into the premise and proceed to execute fully formed world building, shaking up the pieces around Peter Parker. It's a small change on paper, but the shifting of Marvel's what-ifs from one-shots to miniseries really upgrades the potential, and it's already showing positive effects here. Number 13, Thor. Creators, Donny Cates, Nick Klein, Matthew Wilson. Relevant issues, Thor number 9 to 15, an annual number 1, and Thor number 16 to 20, as we round out 2021 in the Cates era of Thor, following up Jason Aaron. Despite outstanding cosmic visuals from Klein and Wilson, the Donny Cates written era of Thor following the years-long tenure of Aaron got off to a pretty sluggish start. The Black Winter felt a lot like Cates strip mining his own recent Marvel greatest hits, a null-like cosmic figure as the villain, throwdowns with Galactus to establish scope and scale, without much that really spoke to the unique opportunity of Thor, King of Asgard. After the opener, though, Cates, Klein, and team have really opened up with a run that feels like their Thor. Prey in particular is conceptually strong, but honestly even more than that, it's deeply committed to using the long history and legacy of Gods of Thunder in energizing, exciting ways. I'm fully back in on this run, and look forward to where Cates, Klein, and Wilson can take it from here as Thor continues throughout the year. Number 14 on the list, and the last pick, really it's number 15, because we did a combo with the Ewing Cosmic Books Power Pack. Creators Ryan North, Nico Leone, Rochelle Rosenberg, and Travis Lanham. This is a miniseries that spanned 5 issues during Marvel's Outlawed event. Historically, I don't have much affinity for Power Pack, although that's changed in recent years as the Family Powers have spent more regular time with the Fantastic Four's Future Foundation. I am, however, a consistently big fan of Ryan North and Nico Leone in their miniseries looking at the life of Power Pack during Marvel's Outlawed crossover, where teen heroes are declared illegal, is predictably delightful. North and Leone are great at creative exposition, comedic perspectives on superheroes, and nicknames for Wolverine. I don't necessarily need more Power Pack after this mini, but I would love to see more from this creative team in the Marvelverse on whatever book they so choose. There you have it. 15 comics, the best Marvel comics of 2021 so far. I'm sure there will be others, but this list should get you going. Hope you enjoyed there. Again, you can find the link in the show notes where you can go and check out all of those books yourself on comicbookherald.com, many of which are available, certain issues on Marvel Unlimited. Thanks to everybody who supports Comic Book Herald over on Patreon. You can support the site yourself over at patreon.com/comicbookherald. Certain benefits include getting your name listed here at the Mysterious Benefactors tier. You can get a podcast form of these Crack and Krakoa YouTube videos that I do on the Comic Book Herald YouTube channel, as well as some other benefits, and of course just supporting me and encouraging me to continue making stuff via Comic Book Herald. I'm Dave. You can find all my stuff at comicbookherald.com, at Comic Book Herald on social. Please like, subscribe to the channel here. Look for Best Comics Ever and My Marvelous Year podcasts for even more from me. Thanks everybody for listening, and as always, enjoy the comics.